Welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is newspaper headlines and analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. And I'm not alone in the studio, soon enough I will introduce my analyst for this morning. Let's start from Daily Trust. I have this banner headline that says that farmers, federal government disagree over drop in food prices. I think it's a good one, for the nation, the citizens, because, just a few days ago, someone was saying to me that, am I aware that the price of gari has dropped, drastically? And I think is, one of the things that Nigerians are expecting to say that, okay, if the prices of food come down, then it's a huge relief. Apart from that, I do not know why the farmers and the federal government actually, having a kind of, we're not going to agree on this, on that. But I think for the benefits of the citizens, these two parties must come together to ensure that, okay, the prices will even go down, more to ensure that people can be able to afford, the basic things in the market. Away from that, I also have this headline that says, I rent driving us out of Abuja. That's coming from the resident. I think a few days ago, I think on Friday, we spoke about how the Senate sat on the matter to see that, okay, how can we actually, reduce, this problem, because it has caused a lot of reactions. Some persons can no longer afford to pay their rent because, some landlords, just wake up one morning to say we want to increase, the fees, and it's a lot for a lot of persons. But I just think that it's not just about Abuja alone. Talk about Ibadan, talk about all of the state across the country, even Lagos, the rent fee is so high, and something must be done fast about it. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says killings, Nigerian Muslims also victims. That's coming from Vatican Cardinal. It's an issue because now we have like international borders weighing in on this matter, especially the United States. It even caused an issue with Reno Mockery and a certain U.S. man, talking about killing of the Christians, in the north, and not just the north. We've seen it in other places too. But then we can also chip in to say that okay, Muslims are being killed too. Is one issue that we'll talk about this morning with my analyst. Away from that, I also have this headline that says a Dangote refinery expands capacity to 1.4 million barrels per day. That's massive. And of course, I think if you can get to that point, if you can realize this, it will help us a lot. I wish him well on that. Let's cross over. Okay, let's check this headline that says National Assembly Committee proposes 6 new states. A lot of persons are clamoring for a new state, and they feel like it can help us, come together. It can unify us in a sense because some persons are being marginalized. Okay, now, should we have the states, a new state? Will anything change? Is one of the things that we'll talk about this morning. Let's cross over to Nigerian Tribune. Have this headline that says Dangote refinery aims to be world's largest in 3 years, plans to expand production from 650,000 to 1.4 million barrels per day to be listed on Nigerian Stock Exchange. We've talked about that. Away from that, I also have this one that says Lagos government violated court order, demolish 100 properties in Oworon Shoki. That's coming from Falano. Please deny attacking resident during demolition. I've seen videos online, especially yesterday. I saw a particular video where some persons had to get big bags to bring out their their goods from the shop because they were about to demolish these properties. It's a sad one. But then what happened in a recent interview that he granted online on national TV, he said some of these people have been given notice in years. And a lot of them a few months ago, but then maybe they decided not to do anything about it. So who do we believe at this point in time? Because some persons are saying they were not told, but then the government is saying, okay, we informed them before now. Who do we believe at this point in time? It's a sad situation. I also have this headline that says NDLEA raids Lagos nightclub over drug party. Arrest over 100 suspects, and then I think celebrities, were also arrested. The likes of Pretty Maika, the likes of Toyo, was once on BB Niger. He came out to tweet actually, and after that tweet, we heard reports that he was beaten at some point. This is so unlike NDLEA. So I believe they must have gone there because they got an intel. They wouldn't do that without an information. We'll talk about that, very shortly. Away from that, I also have this one that says resident doctors to begin indefinite strike November 1. After the 30-day ultimatum, they are saying, okay, we are going on a strike November 1. At this point, what should the federal government do? What should not, as an association do as well? Finally, for this morning, because of our time, P2P Convention, Southwest Leaders Zone Secretary to your Adita Togun. Also have this headline that says our state wastes billions on unviable airports. Only 3 out of 30 airports profitable. That's coming from FAN. States can leverage aviation business to boost trade. That's coming from expert. To be very candid this morning, I think I've been to some airports whereby you begin to wonder, is this really an airport? Some of them look like a war zone, and you wonder what was the intention, to build this airport in the first place when we know that we cannot actually take, good care of the airport. Allow me to turn to my analyst this morning. I'm talking about Timitope Inshallah, historian and public affairs analyst. Welcome on board this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, let's talk about this. I believe you must have seen videos online about the demolition in Oworonshoki and other parts of Lagos. This headline is saying Lagos government violated courts over demolished 100 properties in Oworonshoki. That's coming from Falana. But I also have a tweet here that I would love you to help me speak to this morning, talking about something very important, because this man granted an interview recently to say that we informed these people. This is coming from Tokunbo Wahab, the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources. He said during the recent demolition exercise in Ikota, we targeted structures that encroach on the floodplain. This action followed a series of unsuccessful engagement with the building owners in Oworonshoki. Defaulters have had years to comply. While in trade fairs, some are playing politics with the situation and have been shamelessly mischievous. But the people are saying, some of them are saying, we were not told. Yesterday, I saw a video where, just like I explained, they had to bring out their goods from the shop because, they were about to demolish, all of those shops. What do you make of this, really?
I think it's going to be easy to lay blames, but I would like to look at it based on the understanding I have about the processes of undergoing such demolitions. So now, in truth, government would have communicated to some individuals about the intentions to demolish. At the same time, because of the nature of government over the years where they propose plans, projects, and they don't even go ahead with it. They've also encouraged the culture where government comes out to say, we want to demolish this structure, move away, and people don't take them serious because they feel in another 4 or 5 years, you would not do anything about it. So they always feel they could always ride on that emotion to say, okay, you know what, let's just keep staying here till government goes. But the question I would love to have asked to Mr. Wahab would be, what was the alternative to these individuals when you told them to move away? Because let's not forget, this set of individuals have probably lived all their life in that community. Some have grown, they don't even have understanding of any other place beyond that street or building that they find themselves. So the question that is necessary to ask is, what is the alternative? Same thing applies as they've demolished the property. Where do they expect those individuals to find solace within the short possible time?
Them.
Then questions around compensation also. Have they been compensated? Were they just told move? The landlords? So those are questions, and I think I saw some videos that were being shown like in the ninth about the demolition as well. I'm still trying to gather more information to be sure that it was just maybe a fraction of the demolition that took place at 9. But if in entirety the demolition took place in the night, it's also questionable too. Why not do it in the daytime when people have the opportunity to move as well? And regardless as well, I feel notifications should still be amplified in the hours leading to the demolition. Someone shouldn't be having a nap or sleeping and waking up and just seeing a tractor in front of the compound. And let's not even forget, there are also school of thoughts that presume that this land is also can be likened to a land grab, meaning some vested interests or individuals that need land just looked for a way to corner that area of that community for themselves. And the truth is, the states are in control of the judiciary in the state. They can manipulate a lot of stories, as it were. So I feel for those that have to move out of that place. So I think the only thing the government can do that would make sense is to find a way to either compensate them as quickly as possible and provide a means where they can at least have a place to stay, pending when they can now probably move out of that space and now go find their own bearing. And I think a serious government that is concerned about its citizens, regardless of their tribe, regardless of their political affiliation, should be concerned that some sections of its citizens will be made homeless by that decision they've taken. So I expect that they should look for proper plans. So why are the housing estates that they've built? Why are those things? These should be beneficiaries of such within a timeline, and government should support them till they can stand up on their feet. If not, we'll find a scenario whereby we have a lot of persons scattered back into the streets, and those kids, the product of such actions, become miscreants, become some of the bad eggs in the society. So it has a lot of implications, that decision that they've taken, and it's left to be seen how well they can mitigate the consequences, mitigate the concerns, mitigate possible evils that could happen with this. The government must really show that they care for their citizens, and I'm looking to see that, and I'm watching and hoping that this government under Governor Sanwo-Olu would pay attention to these areas that I've said. It's not just enough to say we're giving them we've given them a time to move out. The question should be, okay, having done that, what is the next step to make sure that they are okay? Because they are citizens, and government should be concerned.
And of course, people should also be careful when you want to build a house or you want to buy land. Make necessary, inquiries before you do that.
Absolutely, and I think Nigerians are guilty of that. So that's why I can't blame the government.
Look at the law of Lagos. I mean, the demolition of
that's why I can't blame government entirely, especially with this aspect, because I've seen it happen. You see government officials practically put a sign that don't build here. It's not part of the town planning procedure and the likes. And you still see people go ahead ignoring it and building. You see government mark and say, oh, an highway passes through this place. You still see people putting up shops, putting up structures along that line. The truth is, whether it's this current government or another government in 10 years' time or another one in 50 years' time, once they come to the road map, the town plan of how they want to build the city, when they get to that area, they will demolish it. But emotions comes up and everybody say, hey, the government has demolished our property, they have done this. So the advice would be that people should ensure that before they build structures after purchasing their properties, go through the government agency or the Ministry of Lands and confirm. There's a red copy, there are a lot of documents that will help you know whether the land you even bought in the first place is in the right place, whether a government project would possibly pass through that area. So you will know all of those informations before you should know, and I think that's what I'll put it that way. So every buyer of a land that wants to construct, investors, real estate, must ensure that they find out those information before going ahead to buy.
Definitely. I think it's a fine place to leave it. We'll look out for, how the government will compensate these people.
I hope they do.
All right, let's talk about NDLEA. After Zelanda says the NDLEA rates Lagos nightclub over drug party arrests of 100 suspects, and we've heard names of celebrities in the country. But I believe that it is not possible for them to raid without an information. The report I read said that they were around at about 11 p.m. but then they started the arrest about 3 a.m. because they waited. They made sure that they were relaxed before they started the arrest. Some Nigerians are saying NDLEA is beginning to move like EFCC. What do you make of that?
So, in Nigeria, all security agencies act like they're above the law. So even when they seem to be in situations where they actually have to fulfill their obligations by virtue of the office they hold, because of that sense of lack of rule, of understanding, lack of empathy, lack of wisdom in exercising their roles, they've given room for us to question their integrity when they carry out those needed raids and the likes. Like you've rightly mentioned, the EFCC, as there's no one saying the EFCC should not go ahead and arrest individuals. But don't do it like a criminal, don't do it like a thief, don't breach people's human rights. Don't breach the Constitution in trying. You are not above the Constitution, no matter because your power is even derived in the Constitution in the first place. So no matter how grievous the criminal is and the likes, the Constitution gives him or recognizes that he has some certain rights that must not be breached, even though you have to still carry out the functions of your agency. So for NDLEA, based on knowledge about Lagos, Lagos is one of the thriving hubs for drugs in Nigeria. And the clubs are some of the areas where it is being amplified.
Like they were seized
substance.
actually, hard drugs.
Hard drugs. So you see, is in Lagos, you see a lot of sodomy and the likes. You see people saying they're doing orgy party, they're doing drugs. So Lagos is that base for it. And truthfully, because of the nature of it being a club, I can't fault NDLEA operating at that time of the night. So the question will now be, how did they carry out such raid? Were they beating people up when they came in? Did they have a warrant to go into the space to say, oh, we have a warrant, want to search your space? So there are certain procedures I feel they need to follow.
Okay.
And I've not gotten a full grasp of it, but are they right to go in to raid? Absolutely right, by virtue of the obligations that has been put to them by the Constitution or by the law of the land, which empowered the establishment as an entity to eradicate drugs in the society. So if that is only the reason why they went, absolutely right. And truthfully, like some of the pictures I saw, drugs, like you rightly said, were found.
Yes.
So now the question is, how would they even prosecute all of them? Because they said suspects. Because we must not also forget that not everyone currently
That's
in the
what
club
I was about to say.
is using drug.
Can we say that those that are not party to this will come out without any issue?
I think even just a good example with police and EFCC already tells that some innocent persons will be hardened, like they call them Roger. So so that's how will I put it now? One is to also understand their operations, and which has been a bit secluded for a lot of people. So why do I ask that? It's because one of the first things that would help them, if truly they are very professional in their approach, should be that they've been able to have 1 or 2, 3, 4 officers that had been taken into that place undercover to either work as a server or as a stripper or as the MC or the hype man that can help them to say, oh, Mr. A is using this, Mr. B is using this, Mr. B is using this, Mr. D is using, because it's not a crime to go to a clubhouse. It's not a crime to drink alcohol. So the place where the line is being drawn is the peddling of drugs and the like. So how would NDLEA comfortably discern between who uses what and not? So are they going to have to do a drug test as quickly as, is it within the hour you caught them or 30 minutes after I caught them? Because those are some of the ways I feel they can be able to distinguish between who used and who did not use, because finding alcohol in anyone's body, they are not driving on the road, so they are not endangering anyone. They are within the club. So it's left to see, and I hope that...
The drug test.
And I hope that there's a lot of transparency about this particular raid that will help us know the extent of the information that they had that warranted them. I don't think it is a cup of drug that the edge is being peddled there that will make them go in.
Definitely.
So definitely there's probably a large-scale form of drugs operation that...
I read a report that said, some of this drug were actually, found inside, cream bottles.
So
yeah,
I can tell and I can already guess that there's probably much more to the story.
Okay. Well, let's look out for how this story will play out. Let's talk about this particular headline that says "Crush terrorism now, Nigerian stars news service chiefs." But let's talk about the ones that were asked to leave just recently. I read a story that said these people are to receive bulletproof SUVs, Prado Jeep, and $60,000, and then the cars are to be maintained and then replaced after 4 years. I'm just asking, is this not too much for compensation, or is there more to this whole thing? Please help me make sense of this particular one.
I think it's no longer a secret that we're a very wasteful country.
Okay.
When it comes to the executive arm of government, they've been very wasteful, throwing around resources that could be channeled into development of other areas that are lacking attention. As a service chief head, or as a service chief, you're already made for life by your salary in some ways, by certain remunerations and the like. So you don't need a bulletproof car. Yes, you can be assigned escorts.
They have standard guards, 9 of them.
Which is necessary because of the importance of the role they just held. So the old security secrets, reports and ideas of the state of the nation, so they need to be guarded. They are walking encyclopedia of our security architecture in the country. So yes, they deserve to be taken care of. They deserve to be catered to. But I still feel like $60,000 and the likes and all of those are things that they can do without. That in their own capacity, they can cater to that as services. And I don't think those before them got any of that. So I feel it's like a payoff to appease some set of persons. And personally, it's all a gameplay towards the coming election.
Okay, should we expect more from these people, the new ones now? Some have been retained. Should we say that in the next 3 months, maybe security will get better?
It won't get better.
Why?
So, as a government, what is your security policy?
Okay.
So it's the same way we would say, what is the agric policy, economic policy of a government and the likes. That's the same way we are going to look at in security. As Mr. President come out to even chart a course or have a clear path on how he wants to tackle insecurity, no. So it's basically letting us know that he's clueless about security or the insecurity, and it's like, how do I put it? It's contracting it to the armed guys to get on it and give him a solution. But while doing that, you're also still handicapping them in such a way that I've said it on this show before, that the government prioritizes loyalty to them over the security of the country.
Okay.
And that is what has been playing out over and over. We've seen the issues with the killings in the north, Boko Haram, the genocide claims of Christians in the north, and a lot of other things. And a serious government that has a clear path would have ways that would see that something is decreasing. So what I see here happening is just, maybe their tenure is over by rank and age, and just, go off, you guys have been faithful, you have been loyal, we'll take care of you, have this. Then you bring in a new set to just continue. So I don't see, there's nothing tactical, there's nothing smart about how the last set of guys had operated.
Okay.
So the new guys coming in, I don't expect too much from them, honestly, because, and one of the reasons why I also maintain that is because the chief of defense staff is still retained. And it's still the same person that it's like they call, in the foreign climes, they call such person the joint chiefs.
Okay.
So meaning all Army, Navy is the one that presides over them collectively, interactions with the executive. So I don't see any special innovation policy from the military this time. So God will be the one that will save us.
Never say never. But let's talk about Peter Obi very shortly. There's an headline. Actually, it has caused a lot of controversy. There's a dichotomy really, because some factions are saying it's a good statement. Don't forget that Peter Obi has a strong impression on the youth. He said recently that Yahoo boys are geniuses, and of course they should be redirected. They can function in the tech world, build softwares, and of course improve our lives, other lives. But some Nigerians are saying this is a very wrong statement coming from someone who has a strong impression on the youth, because a lot of persons might see this as an endorsement, or maybe even people who are still doubting whether they should venture into this or not, they might just see this as an endorsement to say, okay, why not? Really, what do you make of it?
I think he's absolutely right. And the problem with this country too is that we like mincing words. We see obvious truths, but we always look for a nice way to couch it, to appeal to emotions and the likes. We don't like people being blunt. So the simple truth is that we just have to give credit to the intellectual capacity of certain persons, but also be conscious of the fact of how they use that intellectual prowess.
Okay.
So now, I agree with him, because when you look at it, you see a lot of things that these individuals within that space, the boldness, the effrontery, the calculation, the cunningness to outsmart people, and systems that are trusted out there. So I feel if you redirect those individuals to say, okay, you know what, there's so much you can do with this knowledge, with this skill, with your confidence, with your outlook
Okay,
to
tell
life.
me, is this not risky? Because, I mean, people have made claims to say that, bandits and terrorists repented once. They are being integrated into the army, and it's costing us more harm than good. Is this not, should this happen, is this not another problem? Will it not result to another problem for the country?
No. So it's a very simple thing. So in spite of all your wisdom and geniuses as a Yahoo, if you are caught, you've contravened the law, you should be punished. So the question is, how do we get, because we must ask ourselves this question, what makes that stuff attractive to young minds? It's because they've seen that, oh, it's possible for me to make quick cash, or it's possible for me to get a car, it's possible for me to do this, to live the life I desire. So why not redirect such individuals to say, okay, you know what, there's a life better than this. You would get all of these things you want without contravening the law, and you're useful to the society. So it's so easy for us to point fingers and denigrate anyone generally. But if you want to take something away from a child, for instance, and the child is crying, and you try and give him something in return to hold on to. So you don't just say, oh, don't do crime, don't do this, don't do that. Okay. Someone that is struggling to find a basic meal. Not that we're endorsing it, but it's just like I said, we just need to look at issues as they are and ask questions. Like, okay, why is this way? So if we're saying, oh, we've noted that this is the reason why. Okay, we don't want this to happen. So what's the alternative to it? So I feel that's what it's trying to say. But he's a largely misunderstood man lately.
I think he should clarify.
He's a largely misunderstood man lately, and I've also come to understand that because everything is politicized in this time, the simplest of statements can be amplified negatively, wrongly. A statement you made, someone will just cut just a few words out of it and amplify it. So in this TikTok generation and the likes, just little sound bites influences and shapes opinions as quickly as it. But I believe that if people sit down practically and reason along with him, they will see it. But me, I'm still maintaining, if no matter how brilliant you are, if you contravene the law in the area of that finance, you face the law, you should be punished. So we can't say it's an excuse for you to continue doing what you are doing.
A big thanks to you, Temitope Ishola, historian and public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so
much. We hope that we can do this, some other time.
Absolutely.
Because I need the NDLE, let's put our hands and look out for what is going to happen on the matter.
Let's see.
All right, a big thanks to you for being a part of this segment. We need to take a short break, and when we come back, big story. We come up. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun saying good morning once again.